got it right. Hello everybody. This is Monty with Flowers by the Bunch. I know it's been a little while since I have done a live video. Thank you for being here. I am going to today make a, I'm going to do a garland. Garland for, you could do this for your mantle, you can do this for your buffet, you can do this for over a door, wherever you want this garland to go is perfect. When you come on, tell me hello, tell me how you're doing, tell me where you're from. So I'm going to start out with just a really inexpensive garland. So this is just when I tell you a cheap garland, I picked it up at Walmart. And so this is just a very cheap garland. You can see it's just very small, very inexpensive. I think it was $5 at Walmart. So I'm going to show you how to, first we're going to breathe some life into it. And so what I mean by that, I'm going to clear off my space just a little bit, and then I'm going to show you how to add a pretty garland on top. So, like I said, this just came from Walmart. It's an inexpensive garland, so I am going to fluff this garland. Now, it is very important that when using artificial foliage, that you want to fluff it up, okay? So just pull these limbs and just kind of fluff it up. I told you that it's an inexpensive, it's a cheap garland, so it's not very full. When you use these garlands, you might want to buy two if this is all you're going to use. But we're going to add a good bit of stuff to this garland. When you come on, tell me hello. Tell me how y'all are doing this afternoon. Here in Mississippi, it's a beautiful afternoon. It's not too hot, not too cold. It's just right. It's in the upper 60s, I think. And so it's a really pretty day outside. So it's a perfect day to go outside and hang your garland outside. Hey Diane, hey there, how are you? I was just thinking about you today. I saw Kristen Weaver and she was asking about you. I hope you're doing pretty good. Miss Beverly, thank you for being here. So I asked today if you wanted to see, if anybody, whether you would like to see me do a bow for the top of a Christmas tree or a garland. And everybody said they wanted to see both, so I will do both, not both at the same time. Today I'm going to do the garland, and then I will do a tree topper. So what I'm doing is, I'm going through and I am fluffing up this garland. And I'm just, when it comes, it's wrapped up in like a little ball. And so everything's really flat. So I'm just taking it, I'm going down and I'm just bending all of these little arms to make them stick out a little bit. And so it just takes just a second, and it kind of bites your hands. So it'll kind of tear up your hands a little bit. So you'll have to put a lot of lotion. This past week I have been decorating lots of houses for Christmas, and so I have been messing with a lot of artificial foliage, and it just kind of bites. But it's okay. You can always put lots of lotion and Vaseline intensive care heals your hands pretty good. Okay, so I've got it pretty fluffed. And like I said, this is very inexpensive garland. It's not a big fancy, but I'm going to show you how to make inexpensive garland pretty. Okay, so I've got it pretty fluffed, so you can kind of see how it's fluffed. And if there is anything that's flat, just go back in and fluff it up. So I'm going to take this inexpensive garland, and I'm going to, so here at the flower shop we have some of these. It's a flocked garland, and it has pine cones. It's really very pretty. It's got some little pine cones tucked in that have been flocked with snow. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and lay it right on top of this garland. And then I bought these at Walmart, $2.44 for a 10-pack, and they're called garland ties. And what it is it looks like it's just, let me show you. It's just a long tie that you can use instead of using a zip tie, and it blends in with your garland. And so what I'm going to do is I have laid this piece into this garland, and I may have to cut my ends off on the long garland, but that's okay on the less expensive garland. I'm going to take these. I'm going to use my wire cutters, and I'm just cutting it in 2 different pieces. And then I'm going to take the end of this garland. This is the pretty garland here, and I'm just going to wire it right in with that little wire, with that little garland tie. Now you can absolutely just use the pieces of the garland itself. Use the little arms of the garland and just twist it in, and that works perfect too. But I just thought I would show you how these little garland ties are really nice. And so you'll want to just go all the way down and make sure, and you can kind of fluff it and twist it and turn it, and just make sure that it all kind of lays right down in there. So when you go to hang it, it's going to stay together. So all I'm doing is just kind of going down, and I'm just fluffing this garland. It has wire, so you're just going to kind of fluff it a little bit. And I'm just taking the arms of the inexpensive garland and just twisting it right in. You can absolutely use zip ties, you can use wire, you can use whatever you want to. But I just find it's just as easy to use the garland itself to tie it together. And this one's kind of, it's got a wire, so I'm just going to kind of lay it flat. And all I'm doing is taking it and just wiring it right in. Okay, so I've got it wired right in. I don't know if you can see it, but it's all the way wired. So what I'm going to do is I've got these good wire snips. I'm going to just snip off the end of that inexpensive garland. I will in turn use these pieces as a mailbox cover. I'm just going to use that as a base to a mailbox cover. It always works really well. And what I do, it's basically the exact same thing as I'm doing here. So I just cut the ends off of that garland. So now I have just a pretty garland with the overlay of the pretty, of the flocked garland laid in there. Yes, garland on your staircase is beautiful, Mason. I think Garland just does a wonderful job of decorating just about anything, doesn't it? And it's really so easy to make pretty. So next what I'm going to do, and all I'm doing, y'all, is I am just laying pieces into this garland, and I'm going to zip tie it down. This is it's just a bush. You can see it's got several different stems on it. It has some little red berries. I don't know if you can tell. And it is also flocked. So what I'm going to do, I guess it's supposed to be a type of holly. I'm going to just take it, and I'm cutting all these little pieces off of this one bush. Now this is where I'm actually going to use the zip ties, because I need these to stay in to this garland pretty tight. So I have, and I've showed you before, but I have this big bag of clear zip ties. I'm going to just get a handful. You can probably buy these zip ties green. That would be a wonderful thing, is to buy them green. I have the white, so that's what I'm going to use today. So I'm just going to take this little piece of, I'm going to call it flocked holly. It's got a little bit of a glitter too. I'm going to just take it, tuck it right down into this garland, and I'm going to zip tie it pretty tight in here. When we move this garland, I don't want it to come apart. Now you can glue. I just find that glue doesn't always stay together year after year. Zip ties are not usually going to come apart. So I'm just going to take it and be sure to cut that little tab piece off. So I just zipped him right down in there. I'm going to move my garland over, take another piece. I'm going to tuck it right down in there. Take my little zip tie, and I'm going to zip tie him really tight down into that garland. Now, I don't know about where you are from, but here in Mississippi, we have such fluctuations with temperature. Like today, it's really warm, it's really nice outside. Yesterday, it was pretty cool. At night, it dips down below freezing, and so we have such temperature changes. Hot glue doesn't really like our temperature change, and so that's why I learned many years ago that I found that zip ties hold things in place, whereas if I glued ornaments or different things into a garland, sometimes my ornaments would fall off. And so that's just a pain in the middle of the season when your ornaments and your different things are falling off your garland. That's no fun. And so I just found that zip ties keep things in place. And so that's really why I like to use them. But you can kind of see where all I've done is I've just taken that little berry, that little twig of holly, I guess, and just tucked it right down in there and zip tied it in. Now you can do this exact same thing with fresh garland, and I'm going to show you how to do that real quick too. We actually just got our fresh garlands in, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to take artificial berries and tuck them right down into my fresh garland to make that also look pretty and Christmassy. Okay, so there we go. There is the holly kind of tucked down in there. Now, feel free to layer into this garland as much as you want to. You can make it as fancy or as simple as you would like. You can put as many berries and as many picks into it as you would like. Next, I'm going to come back. And this is another little holly, and I'm just going to take a little bit of it and add it. Now, this little holly does not have the berries, but it does have the little leaves that kind of even look like they have the little thorns like holly. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to take those. Now, these are pretty good size stems, so I'm actually going to take and cut them in smaller pieces, just like this. Take them and cut them into smaller pieces. I'm just going to tuck a few of those in. I just love that this has a little bit of glitter, and it kind of it'll kind of glitter outside. I think this would be really pretty around a front door or anywhere you want it to go. It can go around the door in the house. It can go on your mantle. It can go anywhere. It can lay flat. It can hang wherever you want it to go. So all I'm going to do is the exact same thing as I just did. I'm just taking that little holly and I'm just zip tying it right to my two garlands. And all it's doing is giving me just a little bit more texture. I don't know if you can see it, but it just gives a little bit more texture to that garland. So it just makes it look a little more lush and fancy, I guess. Okay, so next what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to add ribbon to this garland. Now, I love this ribbon. It's got a green base, and then it has a red velvet filigree, but it has like little deer, it has some little red birds, snowflakes, but it's just a really pretty dressy ribbon. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to, now you can take this just like I showed you to decorate a Christmas tree. You can take this and just run it all the way down a tree and all the way down the garland and just tie it in with the garland itself. I'm actually, because this is a very wide ribbon, I am going to take it and I'm going to cut it in about 18-inch strips. And 18 inches, give or take. So I'm going to cut it in strips, and then I'm going to take it and just lay it right down into this garland. I'm just laying it right down in there, and I'm catching a couple of the little stems of the garland, and I'm just twisting it right into the garland. Just twist it right in with the foliage. And what this is doing is it's just adding color to my garland. So see how I just kind of tucked that right down in there? So I'm going to put another piece. And I'm going to do this all the way down this garland. And I'm going to kind of skip some space. And I am just tucking this green ribbon, just tucking it right down in, and just tying it off with the stems of the garland. And it's got wire. This ribbon that I'm working with has wire, so you can kind of twist and turn. Okay, so you can see where I put a piece there, and then I put a piece up there, and then I'll come on down and put more down in the base. Now, to give us a little bit more color, I'm going to come back in. Now, if I'm going to use this outside, I always like to use a ribbon that has a little bit of a glitter. And the reason I like glitter is because it kind of twinkles when the lights of the cars pass by. It gives it a little bit of a twinkle, and if it's got Christmas lights in it, it'll make it twinkle. So that's what I really like about this. Hey, Miss Ann. Oh, I'm so happy to share ideas. Thank you for being here. Mason, I am from Starkville, Mississippi. I have a flower shop here in Starkville, and so that's where I am from. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to do it exactly the same, and this is a mesh ribbon that has a little bit of a glitter. So I'm going to just take it, I'm going to just tuck it right in, just like I did the other. And that might be another customer. I'm going to just tuck that right in, and I'm just going to catch it with my garland. So what this is going to do is it's going to catch the light. If anybody's driving by, it'll catch the light, and you can kind of see how it has a little bit of a glitter. Now you can absolutely tuck ornaments down in the same exact way. If you want to put lights in your garland, what I would do to put lights in this garland is I would put the two garlands together, run lights, and then I would add my extra stuff. So if I was going to put the holly and the different things, I would add those in after I added my lights. And what that's going to do is cause those lights to kind of be intertwined into this garland, and it'll kind of glitter as it's turned on. And then you'll have all your ribbon. Now you can absolutely tie bows. If you want bows in this garland, you can absolutely do bows. A lot of times if I hang it from a door piece, I like to have bows on each side of the door, but it's all within your taste. So I want you to feel like you can do this. I'm just giving you the idea, kind of how to do it, but I want you to go out and use products that you really like and that would work perfect for your home. This will absolutely work anywhere you want it to go. It'll go on your fireplace, on your mantle, it will go over a door, wherever you would like it, it's perfect. Use the kind of ribbon you like, but it's just real simple. It's just layering. And like I said, I like zip ties, but if it's going to go inside, you can absolutely use hot glue. Hot glue is easy, and you'll do exactly the same way with your small picks. You'll just glue those in instead of zip tying them. Now, I wanted to show you real quick a fresh garland and how I would dress up a fresh garland. So let me tell you one thing about fresh garland that's really important. When using fresh garland, what I want you to do is I want you to take a bucket of water. You can use a big tub. You could do your bathtub if you want to. You're going to fill it with cool water, and you're going to submerge this garland completely in water. And you're going to do that for about 45 minutes to an hour. What that's doing is it is hydrating this foliage. This foliage has been cut for I don't even know how long. We order it pre-made, and so it's been cut for a long period of time. And so if you will submerge it in water for about an hour, just like I showed you how to do the pumpkins, but this time you don't need to put bleach or anything in the water. All you're going to do is do fresh water, okay? Submerge it for about an hour so that it'll hydrate, and it'll keep it from getting so crunchy. over time, it just gets crunchy. You know, over the season, it dries out really bad. And so that's going to help you keep it from getting so dry. Next, what you're going to do is you can hang this garland exactly like this. It is absolutely beautiful all by itself. It really doesn't need a thing. Here at the flower shop, we are very likely just going to hang it just like this and add red bows. But I'm going to show you really quickly, if you want to add things to it, how I would do that. And I'm going to do it exactly the same way I just showed you on the artificial garland. You're going to take, so I thought red berries would be pretty. And this is just a bush of red berries that we have here at the shop. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull it apart. Now, sometimes red berries get bumped or they get pulled apart and the white starts to show. If it does, take a red magic marker, or just, if you've got red fingernail polish, or if you have red paint, just pop that place that's white with that red paint or a red marker or red fingernail polish. It's just going to cover up that white so that it doesn't show. You can kind of see right there where it's white. So anyway, that's just going to help it from showing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this fresh garland. I'm just going to tuck, I'm going to get my little wire snips. If I can find them. I'm just going to cut that little part of that stem off. I'm just going to tuck this right down in here into that greenery. And I am going to take my little zip ties just like I did before. And I'm going to zip this right down into this garland. Now you can do this with also, you can go out and cut fresh foliage and tuck it right in. I'm actually going to be doing a lady's house where I'm going to use fresh fruit, and I will take you along on a video for that house so that you can kind of see how I used fresh fruit. But I'm just taking these pieces, I'm trimming off that stem, I'm just tucking it right in. And you can just kind of layer it. You can put as much or as little as you would like. Pine cones, you will do the exact same. You can add pine cones down in here. And I would have shown you how to do pine cones, except I don't have any on hand. I used them all last week. So anyway, all I've done is just taking these berries tuck them right down into that garland, and so it's just got that pretty red that's kind of showing through that garland. This garland can absolutely be used inside or outside, and it smells wonderful. It really, really smells pretty. Now what I would do here with these zip ties is I would kind of cover them with a little bit of greenery or even tuck some ribbon in, but it kind of gives you an idea. Oh, and go see if you can check. Is that it? Okay. And so anyway, that kind of gives you an idea of how to use this garland. Guys, thank you so much for being patient with me. Oh, and come around and look. It says low battery, so if you'll pop close for me. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here this afternoon. I hope that I shared some tips for fresh and artificial garland that'll help you out. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I'll be sure to read all the comments and answer any questions you might have. But always make it a point to, on any of your fresh greenery that you cut, to be sure to hydrate it really well, and it'll last longer for you. Guys, I hope you have a wonderful afternoon, and I will see you all very soon.